Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Morning Woods Podcast. I hope you people are enjoying the new set. What do you think? What do you think? Come on. Come on. I hope you like it. I hope this is all for you guys. So I'm just trying to improve the show every single time. So I hope you guys are enjoying the new look, the new vibe. If you haven't already, make sure you go down to the bottom and just go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, go ahead and rate this podcast. It's not a huge ask, and honestly, guys, if other people see that you like the video, it actually makes companies like YouTube and Spotify send it out to new people so we can keep growing our community and we can have more boners out there every day, you know, or bonettes, whatever you guys are, whatever. It's all good. We're glad that you're here. So I have a very special guest with me. With that out of the way, just one more quick announcement. I'll be headlining Tuckin' Reds June 16th. You can get your tickets at tuckinreds.com. It's my first headlining show, so it would mean a lot to me if you guys could join me for that beautiful evening. And with all that stuff out of the way, I have a really great guest with me today. We tried this before recently, and we were unable to execute on the podcast, so he's come back to join me today. This man has so many credits. He's been on Key and Peele. He's been on MTV. He's done Late Night. He was in The Fast and the Furious. He has a documentary called I Clean My Room. It's a really popular documentary. If you guys don't know already, please welcome Brian Swineheart, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
All right.
Dude, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Oh no, my dog's back. Yeah, she's our special guest. She's our stand-in.
Yeah.
She's like a stunt double. Just in case if anybody has to run out of here, she's just gonna jump in and join the interview with us.
Yeah, wherever there's a pause, she'll pick up.
Yeah, she was getting a little grumpy last time. Sometimes that happens, man. But this is real life. Like people probably don't know, but the studio is in my home. So it's like it was an office dining room that we converted into an office/studio. So yeah, I mean this is real shit. You guys are listening to this is the real stuff. Like that's the beauty about podcasting too. It's because it's like a low budget thing, but you can reach so many people and you can talk to interesting people. And I think that when I started doing this, man, I didn't realize how much it was going to open doors for me to talk to people like you with a lot more experience in acting and comedy than me. And I really absorb a lot of that stuff, man. That's why I love listening to how other people got started. And even though no two stories the same, it's still really nice, like just sharing that kind of camaraderie with people of how they came up and their experience. So let me ask you this. When did you get into Hollywood and acting and comedy? And kind of take me back to the beginning of your story and just kind of tell the people how it all started for you.
Yeah, so well, I grew up in Covington, Ohio, not to be confused with Covington, Kentucky, because Covington, Kentucky is right beside Cincinnati, and Covington, Ohio is a little north, but those two. Covington, Kentucky is a bigger town. That's when I say I'm from Covington, Ohio a lot of times.
Oh, so it's even smaller.
yeah, Covington, Ohio is real small. So,
yeah.
But I grew up there, and when I was like, I was into wrestling and sports and baseball, and then when I was about 18 or 19 after high school, I went to Edison State Community College. And I was at Edison State Community College for about a year and a half, right? And my dad died in 1999, and that was like, that kind of got my head moving differently, right? So in 2000, well, before that, around that time, a little after he died, my sister was very talented and is tap dancer, jazz, ballet, all that stuff. So she was always going to these different contests and whatnot, you know. And there was one that had an acting category. It was called the World Championships of Performing Arts. It should have been called How to Rip Off Some Naive People from the Midwest.
Yeah, you had to pay to audition, basically.
Yeah.
And I did some of those when I was a kid, too, and my parents were silly enough to take me to these theaters and perform for these Disney monsters.
Yes, exactly. Right?
I know who it is.
So long story boring, though, I do it. So there's like good and bad to that stuff, right? But it teaches you stuff. Won the boys acting division at that time, right? Okay. And then I was in local acting class at Edison State College, and I went to Pasadena, California. And that is where my acting teacher from Ohio had a friend in Pasadena, California. her friend's name was Bernadette O'Brien. My acting teacher was Patricia Spielman. They were friends from Cleveland, Ohio, from way back when. So we go out to Los Angeles. I'm with my mom, my sister. We meet Bernadette O'Brien. She lives in Pasadena, works at Paramount Pictures in wardrobe. We go to her house. She walks us around and she says, usually I rent my attic out to a college student, but this year I don't have anyone. I'll rent it to you, $300 a month, August for free because it gets so hot.
That's terrible. Yeah.
You know I took that deal, right?
Yeah. You were 19?
Yeah, I was 19. Like, dude,
I'm in Cali. Let's go, baby.
Go. And you know what else? Ohio hot's totally different, right? Because we're used to the humid, and we were usually baling hay in the summer anyways, right?
Yes.
In Ohio, around summertime, you're going to bale hay at least once. So you're used to like, so I was like, okay, I can handle an attic. I've baled hay in Ohio.
Yeah.
An attic in August, nothing, right? So, but I kind of got lucky, man. I kind of fell into place. So I got to stay at Bernadette's for $300 a month, and she brought me on to Paramount Pictures, and I was watching everything, and she said, see those kids down there? And I said, yeah, I see them. She says, go talk to them. They're working on the TV show Rosswell. Okay, so Rosswell is like a real popular show at the time.
Mega huge show at the time. Yeah.
And so I walked down and I say, excuse me, how did you guys get your job? And back then there weren't cell phones, so I always had a pen and a piece of paper in my hand. You know? I always kept the pen and paper because I was getting so many phone numbers of girls.
You had your own phone book.
I mean, man, I got journals full now.
You created your yellow pages on your own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, how do you think they make? Back then there wasn't Google. I was just walking around.
Yeah, you were just taking a survey.
Number is.
It's a long-term survey for the people of Santa Monica. Is that where you were?
Yeah,
Santa Monica.
Pasadena.
Pasadena, okay,
yeah.
Pasadena, yeah.
So then I went there, signed up, went to the. They told me where to go. These kids told me to go to Central Casting. Wrote it down. Went to Central Casting, and Bernadette knew where I had to go, but she was teaching me a lesson on how to get what you want. You got to open your mouth to ask other people, because otherwise I kind of would have. Because I was still a little bit like this because I'm from Covington, Ohio. You know, I'm in a big fucking. Am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, you could. Okay. Yeah, you could cuss. So we try to keep it a little bit clean, just because YouTube pushes out to more people. It seems if I keep it like somewhat clean. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be free.
Okay. All right.
Have fun.
Okay,
dude.
man.
It's all good. You know, we're not gonna scare anybody. If my aunt's listening or something like that.
Yeah, true.
She's heard the F word before.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I gotta figure out who the 10 people that are listening are. Okay. So.
Exactly, dude. Yeah.
So your aunt.
My aunt, me twice.
Okay,
two different accounts.
Okay. I pushed up to 3. I'll be paranoid. I'll watch it 4.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, can you take this down?
I might watch it. That's 5. Okay.
Yeah. We'll get it in a good group text. It might get 11.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll double down overnight. So, yeah. What's crazy is like so I would say I just looked at the analytics like this week, and I'm at 21,000 views just for the podcast analytics on YouTube this year. So with 365 days, 21,000. But then I looked again and I was like, okay, let's look a little bit closer. And so in the last 90 days, it's hit 10.5K. So for whatever reason, in the last 90 days, I've like tripled whatever. And I know the reason is just because I got these new HD cameras and my thumbnails are better.
Hold up, this should be an advertisement.
The description.
HD thumbnails.
Yeah. You guys buy my thumbnails.
You need a sponsor before you start hyping people's products.
Yeah. You can go back on my channel and see it. It will be like between 50 to 100 views relatively on average for over a year, until about 3 months ago, and then all of a sudden they'll hit some of them hit 500-600. I've even had some hit almost 2K just on YouTube. We're not that good on Spotify and iTunes, only a few thousand downloads for the entire year. But dude, it is crazy to see how the consistency will actually pay off in the long term, because sometimes I think I'm doing this for nothing, and then I got a message from a friend, Tyler. Do you know Tyler Ross? Do you know who that is? So he's a buddy of mine too, and he came and did my show a few months ago. And so he messaged me last night, and he was doing a show in Akron 3 hours away. And he was like, hey man, just wanted to tell you that someone came to my show and then they said that they had heard of me through your podcast.
Damn!
And I was like, "Are you serious, dude?" Like, I was elated. I
that is exciting.
I was telling my whole family. I was like, "Hey, kids, check this out. This is better than when they were with me. I got recognized one time. You know?
Yeah, right.
It's like 3 hours away. Someone actually considered going and checking that out. So it just gave me a lot more faith and confidence in the people who are listening, and then also just in this overall thing that I'm doing, dude, because it did start off with like 10 people, and shout out to you guys if you're still around, because like this
now
is
we got 20.
Yeah, we got 20, dude. Maybe 2,000, like 2,000 or 3,000.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy, dude. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't have imagined it, honestly. I only see it going up from here, so it's like a really big blessing, dude. Honestly, for real.
I mean, I could see that this podcast could easily build to the point where it's taking up part of your kitchen as well. I could totally see.
Yeah, dude. We're gonna have studio throughout the whole house, dude. See if we can get like 8 guests at once.
Yeah, you're gonna start having, it's gonna just boom into your kitchen as well. Be all fixed up. But you got it. This looks great. I mean, you come in here, the walls are all nicely painted. You got the comics on the wall. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
You might not be able to tell it's in your house if you didn't know it's in your house.
Right. Yeah. I don't think most people know.
No.
People ask me, they're like, "Where are you recording at?" And I'm like, I built a studio.
It's a tax write-off.
It is a tax write-off, and that's also why we have the snack bar in this room, all right? The coffee machine, the espresso machine, because all that stuff is for our guests and our clients, so.
Okay.
That's it, Mr. IRS, if you're listening.
Yeah. Oh, they are. They are, dude. If you live in Ohio, they're not going to let you off the hook. You're a free thinker, bro.
Yeah, that's true, dude.
They're coming for you.
Yeah, you never know.
They don't like the free thinkers of the world, bro.
You know, the one thing that I know that people get in trouble for, or at least that it's a big no-no in terms of taxes and IRS write-offs, and that's actually clothing. Any sort of clothing or apparel, even if it's for movies and stuff, for whatever reason, that's a no-no. And I mean, there's probably a loophole where if you get a seamstress to custom make it, who knows? But that is something I read. Like, if you're going to do your own business as like a 1099 worker, which that's what, as a comedian or an independent contractor, that's what we're going to be. So it's like you actually cannot write that stuff off unless you can make it seem like another expense or whatever. Like, these sneakers are for my show, which that's what I would think. You would think that because the apparel really does matter when you're up there. I mean, you wear a suit on stage. If people who haven't seen you, you dress very regal and you look very professional. And I'm sure that's not cheap, buying those suits and those nice ties and stuff, right? So it does suck that that's not a thing, especially for entertainers like us.
Yeah, it does, man.
But let's get back to Bernadette O'Brien. And you're in the attic. You're 19. It's hot. It's the summertime.
Summer.
You're trying to get on the show Rosswell. Where are we at? Where are we at from here?
That one was. That one. So that one was. Sorry, man. I kind of spaced out.
It's okay, dude. It's okay. Yeah.
So they tell me to go to Central Casting, which is where you go. You sign up, go be an extra. So I signed up at Central Casting. Back then, I hadn't had a cell phone, so I would call a number, like a old school phone, and I called some. I got through. They had an extra job out in Newhall, California. I lived in Pasadena. I didn't know where the heck either place was, but I said, "Yeah, I can be there. Can you be there in 30 minutes?" "Yeah, I can be there in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I have no idea if I could be there in 30 minutes. Probably not. Because the other thing, back then there was no GPS, so I had to look at a literal map and try to figure myself around. And I've never been a great mapper anyway, so it might take me 30 minutes to figure out where to go on a map.
This is back when you really had to print your stuff out too, right?
Yeah.
Or buy a booklet with the roadmap.
There was a little thing that was called a Thomas Guide in California, and that's where you would find the streets. I mean, it was detailed.
Wow, dude.
Because you got to figure, the GPS does do a lot of stuff. I hate that thing because but I'm like, I know how quick it moves.
It's very helpful, dude.
I mean, even getting from my house to here, right?
Yeah.
Without it's a lot of explanations. People used to really have to communicate to each other. You're going to go down to the third red barn. You're going to turn right. You're going to turn right at the third red barn. You're going to wait till you see a grain elevator. Most people are like, what's a grain elevator?
Yeah,
Well,
go
it's a
down the
big
county
old
line
thing,
road,
okay?
and then you're going to take a left at the horse farm.
Yeah, dude. And that's how people would have to find their way around. And if
Yeah.
you got lost, you couldn't just pick up a phone and be like, yo, dude, I'm somewhere by you're at the grain elevator. No, you just got to keep driving until you find it.
Yeah, exactly, dude. People just make up their own language too. Like my uncles who were from Kentucky, they'd be like, "How far down do I go before I turn again?" "About 3 legs down the road." You're like, "What are you talking about, dude? 3 legs down? Are you drunk
That's
on
how they
moonshine?"
measure it. That's how they measure it. It's like 1 leg, 2 legs, 3 legs.
Yeah, I don't own no car. Yeah, dude. What's funny is, dude, my grandma and like my uncle, one of her sons, they all lived up in the hills of Kentucky when I was a kid, and we used to get to go back in the holler and hang out with them and all that, dude. And it was pretty wild. They would go to like these moonshine dealers for real, because it was a dry county. So there would be a guy where at one part of the store it's like licorice and candy, and it's a regular general store. And then you like open the floor, you go down in this guy's basement, and they would have like alcohol or whatever you wanted down there. I don't know if you've ever been to like a bootlegger in real life.
I'm not having it.
This is like when I was this had to be like 25 years ago when I was a young boy. But yeah, my family was like real tight with these guys down there. It was pretty crazy, dude. Seeing you're from Ohio, so it's country, but it's not as like hillbilly, right? As the people down south.
I mean,
it's a little different country.
It's different. It's a different.
Yeah, they
country.
talk different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The more, because Ohio in its own respect has like kind of, I would say, 3 different dialects of how people accent.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got, because I feel like the northern part of Ohio, up closer to, Michigan and even over to PA and stuff.
Sure, where it's nice.
Yeah, they talk a little, they have a different, it's
They're
a little,
uppity.
It is.
Yeah.
It's uppity. I can't deny. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But they got a little
Right.
more uppity. But they're up north, so it makes sense. They're
uppity. Yeah.
And then when you get down, now there's places that aren't necessarily in southern Ohio that get more southern Ohio, but they got that, some of these little towns, like, 1,000 or under people, they always have a more of a draw to them. I don't know if you see that. I see that sometimes.
No, they want to come see comedy. Is that what you mean? Or you're
Well,
talking
they
about
got
their
accents,
their
the way
draw?
they
I was
talk.
thinking
Yeah.
about selling tickets. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go see my show.
Yeah, dude.
More of a draw. I was like, yeah, dude, we can sell tickets somehow.
Oh, you're saying comedy draw.
I don't know what I'm
draw
saying.
like accent, not like draw like You know how people they say it's a draw.
Right, I know what you mean though. It is a little more of a like almost a hick Southern type of accent.
And you can almost
Southeast.
find that accent in a lot of different places in the country.
Sure.
I've been to places where I wouldn't expect to hear somebody talk like that, and sometimes I do. It'd be like, whoa, dude, wow, country, like in California or something. I heard a lot of guys with kind of that draw. It was a little different.
Yeah. What's funny about the middle of Ohio, which is kind of where Dayton is like, it's like somewhere in between like hillbilly gangsters. Right? There's like
it
some.
It really is, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's interesting.
It's an interesting mix and match.
Yes, it's a cross of like these guys who like listen to hip hop, but they're like baling hay all day and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like talking like they're tough and stuff like that, and instead of like, where you're from, dude. It's not like calm down, bro. It's Ohio. You know what I mean?
It's Ohio.
Like,
I would say though that there's like a mix. I would say that like a lot of people from Ohio, I think they like hip hop and stuff. But everybody does. But I think too because
it's pop culture now.
Because it's a culture they've never been a part of. So
it's
interesting
they don't understand
to hear
it.
about it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear about it and kind of imagine what whether just kind of listen to what the guys are saying and kind of put themselves in that world. I think that's when you see people like that. That's a lot of times what they're doing. They're listening to the stories that person is singing, and they're probably way out in the cornfield. They've never seen that before, so they're kind of trying to learn from it. Oh, I wonder what that's like as they're doing it. Just like somebody in the city might be wondering, man, I sure would wonder what it would be like to sit on a tractor all day.
Yeah.
right?
I can see that too, because recently, even in the mainstream culture, you'll see that like country rap and hip hop are kind of like all meshing together, and it's like I think that the music industry has recognized that there's a big market for that, right? And they aren't necessarily represented, but they do like that style of music, but it might not necessarily represent them as a person, right? So I think that they're definitely capitalizing on that with people like Jelly Roll and Struggle Jennings. You know those guys? So yeah, so those guys are obviously massive right now, and they weren't always as big as they are for sure. But you can see that that's just being so much more popularized, and a lot of people are starting to copy that style now too. That like country hip hop thing, which I think does come from like the Midwest. It's not necessarily a southern thing, right? You kind of got to go a little bit north, or at least you used to, before you started having that mashup going on. So it's something that happened like kind of right in between here in Tennessee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you kind of think about this. So what you're saying is it's styles that maybe started kind of with Kid Rock and Eminem, even.
Yes, there you go.
Before that,
even Michigan,
and they're both
yeah.
from Michigan.
Yep.
So we know that Nashville has the country music, dude. I love Nashville, dude. It's awesome.
It's one of the best towns in the world, dude.
Yeah.
I went 3 times since last year.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's a very, they got the Johnny Cash Museum, which is cool, and stuff like. They just got all this music, and that's country as can be, and right. And even look at Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash, he was kind of back in his day that guy.
Like a gangster, kind of a white trash,
Yeah.
like representation of a thug almost on Bad Boy. He
was more of a bad boy.
Yeah.
Right? He
rock stars is what they called him.
Yeah, he was a rock star. And the thing is about Johnny Cash is, he was an authentic musician. That's why you can tell that he played up till his dying day.
Yeah.
So that guy was an authentic musician, which helped him. But Nashville. So I'm saying, so we got Nashville, we got Detroit, and they're kind of converged, and then we got Ohio in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom, right in between.
Yep.
So so I would say that the Midwest has had a lot of influence on music, and Ohio's like, to me, I love talking about Ohio, but
yeah.
Ohio to me, because I'm from here, is one of these places in the world that just kind of overlooked.
Yep.
And it's not really a tourist spot, right? There's nothing, we don't really offer too much. Okay, even our amusement parks are cool, but come on, you really got to drive across the world to go to Kings Island?
No, there's Six Flags everywhere, dude. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, we got a great amusement park. Listen, we don't have anything else ever to do, so we think our amusement parks.
What food are we even known for in Ohio?
Yeah.
Soup. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
we're
what?
definitely not.
What are we? Yeah.
Yeah, we're just known to be
Skyline chili.
Yeah, dude. That's like
red and blue, dude. I was thinking about this the other day, like Walmart and Meyer, because I'll shop at both, and I started seeing like political things in like the art section, or like the T-shirts they would have there, and they're both very like left and right leaning, and it's red and blue, like the colors of the store. And I was like, dude, I'm not a conspiracy guy or anything, but I just seeing it firsthand. I was like, okay, there's definitely like something being pushed on certain kinds of people who are either identify with blue or red. And I can see that in other industries too, like Gold Star and Skyline, Pepsi and Coke. And I think it's kind of a tradition that goes on in society that we don't understand.
So you're saying their theme colors are blue and red
on both sides.
Okay, so
how many things can we name that have that?
So the Meyer emblem, which is a grocery store in Ohio, Meyer, I hate it, but anyways.
I shop Meyer.
Okay.
Well, I don't have M-Perks, but I shop Meyer.
I don't shop at Meyer, but we'll get into that another day. So, but it's red. Its logo is red and blue.
Yes, it has blue in it.
Yeah, and they push that. Yeah.
But it's very red. The store, it's like kind of like almost like a Target too. I feel like Meyer is more the blue is just an accent kind of to the words, right? Mm-hmm. But it's definitely a red store. And then you see Meyer, and it pushes like a lot more conservative shirts and like American hats. You know what I mean, with eagles on them.
That's the people that are gonna go there.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's pretty interesting to see that, though.
Well, I think that sells. Okay, those type of items sell big time here, bro.
Yeah. In this part of the country.
In this part of the world. You put that other items out, what else they gonna put? we're not gonna buy that around here.
Yeah, that's true.
Keep it out.
Yeah.
You gotta know your market.
Yeah, they have it up though. They have like weird shit up at Myers. Their clothes are weird. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna say anything specific, but I saw some weird shit.
Like what? Well, come on. Like what? Like
it's just there. It's not even weird. It's just very like pro feminism or pro.
People are buying that.
And it's not that I actually bought one of the shirts for my girlfriend.
Well, that was a mistake.
Right?
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Come on, man. Quit selling us out, bro.
It says like fierce female or something like that.
No, stop.
And I was like, that's
Stop,
great,
no.
but that's not a shirt you're gonna see on the racks at Walmart, right? Because there's no, if it's no fierce female. It's
we
like,
don't need these fierce female shirts all over the world.
no, dude, the women shopping at Walmart are buying shirts that say Grippos. Dude, that's what I see at least. Like they're wearing wolf t-shirts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
true.
Yeah, dude. But okay, so we got about 4 or 5 minutes. I think we should definitely do a part 2 of this if you got time to stay for another.
Yeah.
So you guys can watch the next half next week. But let's talk more about. So you're going down to Central Casting, and then you get a job right away, right? You get a job immediately when you get into LA. You're there or you're in Pasadena, but within a week you're working on set, and then you're now going down to Central Casting to get your own gig.
No, so I went first to sign up at Central Casting.
Okay.
And then they gave me a number to call every day. And I called it, boom, got it. They say, hey, we got a rush call right now. You got to be there in 30 minutes. Okay, I'll figure out 30 minutes. So I get in my car and I drive to the job, and it was that show, Freaks and Geeks. And I didn't know what I was doing. I get there, I'm just kind of walking around as an ex or whatever.
Yeah,
loving my
you're
life.
just happy-go-lucky.
20 years old from Ohio, dude. 1 week in California.
Holy shit.
You know.
You had no idea really how big of a production. It was a Judd Apatow movie, Paramount,
dude,
right?
Had I known what I know now, dude, those guys all became unbelievable.
You would have been best friends with all those guys.
Yeah, dude.
You would have been trying to rub elbows a little more. I bet. You know what I mean?
I might have been, but Bernadette in Pasadena always had me working on her garden and her lawn. So even if I wanted to, I wouldn't have had time.
I don't have time, guys. I'm sorry.
That's how it was,
I can't go and smoke weed with Seth Rogen because I have to do the lawn today. That's such a good story.
True.
Okay, so
that was my life right there.
Put me on the set. Put me on the set of Freaks and Geeks with you. It's day 1 of shooting. What happens? Is it cool the first day? Are you still like ill in awe of this situation?
Oh yeah, man! I didn't know what I was doing, bro. My training was a play at Edison Community College called Prince Charming. Where
so you did one play, and you're like, I'm an actor.
I'm an actor. Yeah.
I'm going to California.
I played Prince Charming at a kid's play at Edison Community College.
That's so good. That's hilarious, bro.
That's all my training. You know, I think I'm gonna be, the star. Man, they loved me as Prince Charming.
Yeah. Dude, that's great. Okay, we got about a minute. So why don't you shout out your social media handles, and then you guys make sure you come back next week and watch part 2. And if you're watching part 2 next week, I'm already in Austin, Texas, doing my first gig down there, and we're going to be bringing you guys a whole month worth of podcasts from Austin, Texas. So right now I want you guys to go follow Brian. Brian, what are all your social media handles, brother?
Yeah, Brian Swineheart, BrianSwinehart. That's my Facebook and Instagram, whatever.
Yeah, you guys make sure you go follow Brian, check him out. You've probably seen him in a ton of movies and you didn't even realize it. So we're going to talk more next week. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast. Peace out. All right, we're going to take a quick break.